So here's my audience. When you hear the word reader, who comes to mind? Is it someone with a title, a nameplate, and a microphone? Or is it someone who's quietly helping out at the food pantry, or is starting fundraisers for people in need, or packing meals for kids they'll never meet? In high school, I learned just how powerful the second kind of reader can be through Highland servant leadership. Today, I'll share more about my time in servant leadership. I will talk about what servant leadership is and how I got introduced to it, and some of the memories and accomplishments I'll never forget of being this part of this program. Highland Servant Leadership is a leadership program for high school students that also offers college credit. Highland partners with many high schools throughout the region. I believe it's 16, and a lot of the students participate as they get college credit, and it also looks really good on scholarship applications, resumes. They also, some requirements for servant leadership though, is you must be in good standing with your school, and you must also do 50 hours of volunteering or community service. And along with that, you must attend one meeting a month to build leadership skills, and you learn more about the service. One day in the spring of my sophomore year, a lady came to her school and she talked to about 15 of us students. And with the 15, she also had her past members come in and talk to us about some positives and negatives. The past members were very shy to say any positives about the program, but really didn't stop with the negatives and really had them on their mind. Even with that, I was curious after the meeting. So I took home one of the forms and I filled it out. And then the next day I turned it right back in. The first meeting at Highland went really well. I met a bunch of new people, I enjoyed the speaker, and I also enjoyed all the hands-on activities that we did at Highland. The only issue I had, and like the past members, was that the timing. It was at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. On top of our monthly meetings at Highland, my program at Stockton, we also love to do weekly meetings. So our advisor would have us come to our house every week, and we would talk about what we were doing for the upcoming fundraisers, or what's going on with Highland and the servant leadership program. All this planning and effort was to make our program successful and one of the best. Now that you know what servant leadership is and how I got involved, I'd love to tell you more about the projects and experiences that meant the most to me. The first big project is called the Backpack Program. At my high school, it was basically a partnership between servant leadership group and the local food pantry. Our group raised monies in different ways with 50-50 raffles, school funding. The school would give us money so we could run the program. Golf course food drives. If you brought food to the golf course, you got to play for free that day. And selling food at basketball games, like walking tacos. With the money we raised, we bought groceries for families in need at a local grocery store. They also basically let us get everything at cost or without any taxes, so it also saved us money, and they could also give back to the community. And the next week, whenever we got the groceries, usually the next week, we would take them into the food pantry and pack the backpacks up with food. It would usually be around 10 items, and then once the backpacks were filled, we would give them to the school. The school would distribute them out to the students, and every week the students would bring the backpacks back to get them filled again. For Thanksgiving, we would be working with our local grocery store again, and we basically set out a menu, and the grocery store put it all together, and we paid the grocery store, and that food was then delivered to the family's doors, and it was a full Thanksgiving meal, and the families didn't have to do anything. At Christmas, each member of our group were given a budget, and with this budget, we had to shop for gifts like socks, Legos, coats, jackets, hats, gloves, and all these gifts went to the families that we were given to. This program was amazing because it taught us how to plan and organize, but it also showed us what it looks like to make a direct impact on our own community. Another project we did was a fundraising for a dad in our local town that had cancer. This fundraiser was an alumni volleyball game. Basically, one weekend we had all the alumni volleyball players come together and we split it into teams. We had present, 2000s, 1990, and like 1980 and beyond. And it wasn't just playing volleyball, we also did multiple fundraisers like 50-50 and a silent auction. We were basically rallying around someone who just needed help. We hosted another fundraiser for someone else in our town who was battling cancer. This person loved to work out, so I organized a 5K in her honor. Again, the community showed up and we had a silent auction and we raised almost $15,000. And by the end, it truly made an impact on this person's life. For Highland's Big Project, we participated in an event called Hearts and Hands for Hunger. This is a meal packing event for children in different countries. Like Haiti, we did one time, and they just got done getting hit with a hurricane, so all those meals went to Haiti. We packed over 100,000 meals, and all along the way, you meet tons of new people from other schools who are also there for the same reasons to serve. When I look back on my time at Highland Community College, Highland Servant Leadership, I don't just remember the early Saturday mornings or the number of service hours I logged in. I remember the faces, I remember the families smiling as we dropped off Thanksgiving dinners. I remember alumni laughing at the volleyball court while raising money for a neighbor in need. I also remember standing shoulder to shoulder with a student from another school packing meals for kids we would probably never meet. And I'm so grateful that Highland was able to give me this chance to be one of them and to serve on Highland Servant Leadership.